Here comes the Amazon man with some records. Hey, MegaJeff here again. Time for another first one, the one you never forget. Again, a series that I stole from bands over at Zeppborough, where we're looking at, basically it's a collection video, and I've done videos on my collection on certain artists, and it's really kind of a copy of that. But what we're looking at is the collection of material you have from an artist, where you entered into that artist's knowledge when you got into them, and then which one tends to be your favorite and how it tends to lean towards being the first one you discovered. And that's just the way the human nature is. I guess we just gravitate towards the nostalgicness of that first album. So doesn't always happen, but a lot of times it does. Today we're talking about Ozzy Osbourne going way back. Now I'm going to tell you, growing up in the 80s, got into music. My first love, as I've mentioned numerous times, was Kiss. Discovered them in 1978, saw them in concert in 1979. It was only Kiss until after 1980. My parents moved basically about 3 blocks away. Different neighborhood. Same neighborhood, different part of the neighborhood. Turns out I had a friend who lived right across the street at this point. He was, 2 years younger than me. Big into music, huge Kiss fan. But also, he had a little more diversity to his music. He was big into Van Halen. Still is. To this day, Van Halen is his #1 band. And he's trying to get that box set, the live box set. He's trying to trade me everything he can to try to get that from me. But anyway, we stay in contact. But anyway, for the next 4 years before I went and left in the military, he and I were inseparable, and music was our life. And so I got into Ozzy around that time. So I was not really aware of the Black Sabbath years. Was not really a fan. Maybe I'd heard stuff on the radio. But really, I wasn't an Ozzy fan from that. I became an Ozzy fan from the Ozzy material. Later, went back and heard the Black Sabbath stuff. So when I got into them, it was already into the Diary of Madman thing. So anyway, Blizzard of Oz was released without my knowledge, of course, because I had not really discovered him at this point. But great album, we all know the story now. I had no idea the Black Sabbath, the Turmoil, all that stuff. But this first album, very pivotal. I mean, it has got songs that are still on the radio, songs that are still played by bands, including mine. I don't know, Crazy Train. Crazy Train is one of the ones that we've played before. Absolutely a classic. There's just no getting around it. A great album, but not my entry point. Not my greatest. Now that is, as you saw, that's the Best Buy reissue from a couple years ago. The bass player in my band, who is 14 years my senior, he has an original copy of that in his collection. He's like, look, Jeff, I don't need these albums. And so he's just waiting to go through the rest of them, make sure his wife doesn't want any of them. He's probably going to give me that. So I'll get an OG copy of that, which is apparently in great shape. Diary of a Madman, again, a reissue, the Walmart reissue. I think I got this during that Black Friday $15 sale that they did a couple years ago. This is my entry point. When I got into Ozzy, I had this and Blizzard of Oz. So these are where I cut my teeth. I had them both at the same time. That's how we discovered them. So the Randy Rhoads years is my entry. And this is probably still one of my go-to albums. Again, Over the Mountain, Flying High Again. I mean, the album is just chock full of not only classics, but memories of my youth. And so, yes, absolutely, probably still, if I think Ozzy, the first thing comes to mind is these first 2 albums, which were my entry point. So in this case, it is the first one that I never forget. This is another one, which oddly enough, it's an EP, but Live Mr. Crowley had the picture disc, played it to death. Still very pivotal in my mind because it's just a little snippet, 3 songs. We just loved this. It was like great stuff. So that is very, high in there. Those 3 albums, one being an EP, are, to me, almost kind of like a little trilogy of stuff that we had and we listened to all the time. Now, I do have the reissue of this. Somebody at some point sold this online. This is, I'm assuming, from the box set. It looks like it's from the box set. I'm pretty sure it is. It's colored. It's got the labels from that box set. Yes, I missed out on the box set the first time around. I saw it. I just didn't have $500. I tried to convince all of my kids to go in together and buy for me for Christmas, but nobody wants to buy Dad a $500 gift of just records. I never could pull the trigger on that. Then they came out with the version 2. Oh, I really wanted that. Again, money, time, issue. I just couldn't do it. But at some point, someone online sold this, and I'm like, I'll buy it. It's the same thing as a picture disc, but it's better because I don't like picture disc. So it's the same material, but it's from the box set. And again, it's better than a 1980s picture disc. So this is an original copy. We got the tribute album. I don't recall having this until many years later. I don't have a long history with this, but of course, it is Randy Rhoads years, so it's very pivotal from that time frame, and so it is great to have. So we got that. The Randy Rhoads years are just the great stuff. Speak of the devil, I remember when this one came out, so I was already an Ozzy fan. This came out, no clue who Brad Gillis was. We saw the concert footage that they had that was going around on MTV, I think, from the time. Did we get a bootleg video or something? I don't know. I've had VHS copies of like the whole concert from this show type thing. For some reason, there's a piece of me in the back of my mind that thinks I saw this concert, but I'm really starting to doubt it. I'm thinking it's that video that's just ingrained in my head. But it was because of this, of course, that we learned who Brad Gillis was. And then shortly thereafter, when Night Ranger came out, I fell in love. A totally different music style, but that album I fell in love with. The first Night Ranger, start to finish, I don't think there's a bad song on it. Loved them. And it was all because we discovered him with Ozzy. So, great stuff. Still a very pivotal album in my mind. Then we got Bark at the Moon. Yeah, this is the blue one, which I think is a foreign pressing, I believe is why this one's blue versus red. But this one I know I saw the concert of. We went to the Coliseum here in town, and I remember we went backstage. We went to the tour bus. Jakey Lee got off. I got his autograph. I don't know where it is to this day. I knew where it was. I have a box of stuff from my childhood that it's not in there. I don't know where it went. I don't know why I would have ever thrown it away. I'm thinking at some point I probably put it in a memorabilia album of Ozzy stuff, and that disappeared. But anyway, so yes, saw this concert. Great stuff. Fell in love with Jakey Lee. Thought the whole time of that whole era was just absolutely great. And that one is really pivotal too. So to me, it's like the first two Ozzy albums and then Bark at the Moon those are kind of like the trilogy of studio albums that highlight my youth of that day. Ultimate Sin, again, excellent album. Loved it from the time when it came out. Then let's see. I think I'm missing one there. The No Rest for the Wicked. I'm missing some of those albums from that time frame. All right, No More Tears. Now, I admit at this time frame, I had changed musical taste. I had kind of started. I hadn't listened to this. It was years. I heard all the hits, heard on the radio and everything, but didn't own this album until many years later. I had kind of, not listening to so much of that, but absolutely great album. Zakk Wylde moves in. Everything's hunky dory and great sounding. So still some of the bigger hits that you hear on the radio even to this day. Now here's another one which appears apparently to be from the box set that somebody sold. I bought this at a store in the used, in the used records. So I'm assuming somebody broke the box set up, didn't like this, so I grabbed Alive and Loud. Let's see if I recall. Yeah, it's on color, so everything about it, it has to be in the box. I can't even put it on Discogs because there's no listing for it because it's part of the box set. So while I appreciate being able to grab some of the albums from the box set, it's tough when it comes to cataloging them because you can't do that. So I was able to grab this though. It was a decent price, so I grabbed that. It's a decent error. It's good stuff. This one I showed not too long ago because I just picked it up a couple months ago when I was down in Myrtle Beach, and that's down to earth. Everything about this screams an official release. It seems like it's an overseas release. It's got a barcode that's significant, that is, you know, only on this. It's, you know, everything about it, but some people list it as an unofficial release, so I don't know. It looks like the same labels as the box set, but it's black. And the box sets were, as far as I recall, the box sets were all color variants. So I don't really know. It sounds great. It's fine. I just don't know, official or not official. But I grabbed it because I didn't have it on vinyl. And then, you know, I am still missing some in that time frame, and some of which either weren't on vinyl aside from the box set or are really hard to find. But I have Black Rain. So I did grab that when that came out. Double record set there. Anyway, won't go into it, explain a lot of it. I like this album. I know by this point the vocals are starting to sound processed, but overall, I think this is a pretty killer album. So I enjoy it. I also have the CD, which is like the... No, I have the CD, the other album, which I do not have. Scream. I don't have Scream on vinyl. Which has the extra bonus tracks, which I thought was a good album too. But anyway, good stuff. Ordinary Man, and I admit, you know, some of this stuff, I mean, it's great to hear Ozzy in these latter years, but, you know, it's, you can tell it's a little more processed. This, I have one of the ones, sadly, that has like a thumping sound. It's hard to explain. It's kind of like, you hear it really low in the music, especially when it gets softer. It's just like a boom, boom. There's no visible damage to the album. And I've heard of other people talking about it. I think it's a, I don't know if it's a recording issue or whatever. And I know a lot of people threw a fit about it. And I don't know if they ever fixed it, but I didn't rebuy it if they did. So it's not that nuisance. It's there, but it's not, you know, that big of a deal. And then I bought the exclusive Patient Number 9. I bought the Walmart version. I know there's a deluxe version out there, and there's one with a different cover and all that stuff. But this one's fine by me, so I grabbed this. And that's it. That is my Ozzy collection. You can see the holes in there. I'm always on the lookout for filling those holes, but a lot of those are expensive. I'm hoping, and I was hoping when the first box set came out, I'm hoping now that the second box set came out, that I'm hoping the individual albums are going to come out, that they're going to do like every other box set person did. You release the box set, a year later, you start putting out the individual albums, because I just want to fill those gaps. Some of these, never on vinyl. Some of the ones I'm missing, impossible to find for not costing an arm and a leg. So I'm hoping. But for now, I've got the CDs, so I'm fine with that. That's it for this one. Thanks a lot for watching. I will see you later. Rock on and rock hard.